Look into the absolute dark.
Far beyond the reaches of our fragile, sun-warmed sky, the James Webb Space Telescope peeled back the skin of time itself, staring 13 billion years into the past.
We expected to find the infancy of existence, the quiet, trembling embers of a universe just learning how to breathe. We expected whispers. Instead, we found a scream. Out there, in the freezing ink of the cosmic dawn, we saw them. Colossal, impossibly bright beacons burning with a violent, unnatural brilliance. They are monsters disguised as stars, structures so massive and mature they violate every law of physics we have ever written. They should not exist. Yet, they glare back at us through the void, mocking our understanding. These are not the stars we know. They do not burn with the clean, fierce heat of nuclear fusion. No. NASA's most unsettling theories suggest a much darker truth.
These are dark stars. Ghostly titans powered not by light, but by the self-destruction of dark matter. Inside their swollen, gravity-warped bellies, invisible particles are colliding and annihilating one another, generating a cold, parasitic energy that allows them to grow to 1,000,000 times the mass of our Sun.
They do not fuse, they consume. They are celestial parasites, bloated on the unseen scaffolding of the cosmos, secretly eating the early universe from the inside out.
To look at them is to feel a cold dread creep down your spine. They are cosmic predators, masquerading as beacons of hope in a young, vulnerable universe. Imagine a star so vast it could swallow our entire solar system without a shudder, burning with a pale, ghostly light. As they feed, they do not merely shine, they warp the very fabric of spacetime around them, preparing to collapse into the supermassive black holes that now lie in wait at the center of every galaxy, including our own. They are the seeds of our own destruction, the ancient ancestors of the gravity wells that will one day swallow all things.
We once believed the universe was born in a cradle of light. We were wrong.
It was forged in a slaughterhouse of dark matter, shaped by ravenous, invisible giants that devoured the cradle before we could ever be born. Now, as our telescopes peer deeper into the abyss, the silence of space begins to feel less like peace, and more like the bated breath of a predator waiting in the dark.
We are not looking at the dawn of creation.
We are looking at the ancient, glowing eyes of the beasts that built our prison.
And the most terrifying realization of all?
They may still be out there, lurking in the unmapped corners of the cosmos, waiting for the light to finally die.
Look up at the night sky. What you see is a lie of perspective.
We perceive stars as eternal beacons of life, cosmic engines of fusion pushing back the cold, oppressive dark.
But NASA's latest, most unsettling theories suggest that the early universe was not birthed in pure light, but infected by a silent, invisible plague.
At the very dawn of time, when the first stars ignited, they did not form alone. Deep within their radiant, blazing hearts, a ghostly parasite was already feeding.
This is the horror of the endoparasitic dark core.
Imagine a primordial seed of dark matter, or a subsolar black hole, trapped inside a newborn star.
From the outside, the star appears healthy, shining with blinding brilliance across the virgin cosmos.
But beneath that blinding facade, at the absolute center where nuclear fire should reign supreme, there is only a quiet, insatiable hunger. The parasite does not rip the star apart in a violent, spectacular explosion. Instead, it digests its host from the inside out, molecule by molecule, photon by photon. It is a slow-motion cosmic betrayal. For millions of years, the star continues to burn, a hollow shell masquerading as a beacon of creation. It is a living corpse, a stellar phantom whose light is nothing more than the final, agonizing scream of matter being dragged into an invisible abyss. The dark parasite grows fatter, heavier, slurping up the stellar fuel until the core collapses into a silent, naked singularity. No telescope can witness this theft, no light can escape to warn us.
This is why NASA scientists look at the early universe with a growing sense of existential dread.
The James Webb Space Telescope has captured ancient, impossibly massive galaxies and ultra-bright monsters that defy the known laws of physics.
They are too big, too early, too quiet.
The math suggests they are not normal stars at all, but cosmic Trojan horses, gargantuan dark stars powered not by the birth of atoms, but by the slow, suffocating annihilation of dark matter.
We are forced to confront a terrifying philosophical reality. What if the universe we inherit is built upon the ruins of a silent massacre? What if the very foundations of cosmic structure were laid by invisible predators that hollowed out the first generation of light?
Even now, as we bathe in the warmth of our own sun, a chilling question lingers in the silence of the observatory.
Is our star truly safe, or is there a microscopic spark of darkness already nesting in its core, quietly waiting for its turn to feed?
Imagine a nursery where the newborns do not cry, but whisper in a language of absolute silence.
In the deepest nurseries of the early cosmos, the first stars did not ignite with the clean, triumphant fire of nuclear fusion. Instead, they were born infected. NASA's most terrifying realization is that the earliest giants of our universe were not beacons of hope, but hosts to an insatiable, invisible parasite. This is how you feed a monster that cannot be seen, you let it eat from the inside out. At the heart of a dark star, there is no crushing pressure forcing hydrogen atoms to fuse. There is only a phantom gravity, a silent trap woven from dark matter. As pristine hydrogen gas tries to collapse into a normal star, the invisible web of dark matter tightens. The dark particles do not collide with normal matter, they slip through it like ghosts passing through stone walls. But when these dark particles collide with each other within the star's core, they do not merge. They annihilate. This is a slow, cold, agonizing feast. The annihilation releases a torrent of raw, violent energy that pushes back against the collapsing gas. The star does not explode, nor does it collapse. It bloats. It swells into a monstrous, fragile giant, millions of times wider than our sun, glowing with a dull, cool, infrared rot. It becomes a cosmic tick, swelling larger and larger, drinking from the surrounding primordial mist. It is a star that refuses to die because it was never truly alive. As you listen to the silence of the deep space, realize the true, crushing horror of this cosmic ecology. These dark monsters did not just sit passively in the dark, they starved the future. Every single pound of pristine hydrogen consumed by a dark star was a cup of life-giving water stolen from the cradle of future planets, future oceans, and ultimately, our own veins. They were the ultimate, parasitic hoarders of the infant cosmos. And when their invisible dark matter fuel finally ran out, these bloated, cold corpses did not fade quietly into the night. They collapsed directly, violently, into supermassive black holes, the very same ultimate predators that still stalk the centers of galaxies today, waiting in the shadows. We are living in a broken universe, shaped entirely by the leftovers of an ancient, invisible feast. We walk among the digested crumbs of giants that died in the dark, still feeling the phantom chill of their insatiable, eternal hunger. Imagine a dawn that does not bring light, but a deeper, heavier dark. We have long believed the infancy of our universe was a pristine nursery, a violent yet beautiful ignition of the first cosmic fires. But the data whispered back by our most advanced telescopes tells a far more sinister story. In the absolute silence of the cosmic dawn, billions of years ago, a monstrous phantom was already feeding, lurking in the shadows of creation, waiting to snuff out the light before it could even begin. These were not the stars we know. They were colossi of the deep, gargantuan beasts born not from the clean heat of nuclear fusion, but from the self-devouring annihilation of dark matter. Scientists call them dark stars, but star is a comforting lie. They were bloated, cold, and invisible giants, stretching across solar systems, masking their true nature behind a deceptive, pale yellow shroud. They did not shine, they loomed. They did not warm the cosmos, they suffocated it. Like cosmic parasites, these leviathans sat at the gravity wells of the very first proto-galaxies, acting as silent, invisible anchors. But an anchor does not just hold, it drags everything down into the abyss. With an insatiable, freezing hunger, these dark matter monsters slowly, systematically inhaled the pristine hydrogen and helium around them. They grew bloated on the stolen blood of the newborn cosmos, swelling to 1,000,000 times the mass of our sun. It was a slow-motion execution. The first galaxies were not allowed to grow, to breathe, or to dance. They were trapped in the crushing, invisible web of these dark matter predators, their fragile structures slowly stripped away, digested in silence before they could ever truly ignite. And then came the final, terrifying transformation. When the dark matter fuel at their cores was finally exhausted, these giants did not die in a spectacular, light-giving supernova. Instead, they collapsed inward, silently folding the fabric of spacetime around themselves. They became the first supermassive black holes,
the monstrous gravity wells that now sit at the hearts of every major galaxy we observe today. The predators did not vanish, they simply put on a darker, absolute mask, continuing their eternal feast from the inside out, slowly digesting the very star systems that grew around them. When we look into the deepest trenches of the night sky, we are not looking at a birthplace. We are looking at an ancient, cold crime scene. We are looking at a universe that was being eaten alive in its very cradle, by monsters we still cannot see, leaving us to wonder if the dark is still hungry. We look up at the night sky and mistake the silent, frozen dark for peace. We inherit a vast cosmic tapestry we assume is still growing, still breathing, still warm with the embers of its own creation. But NASA's most chilling realization is that we are actually living in a graveyard of hollowed-out giants. The universe we see today is not a flourishing garden, it is the picked-clean skeleton of a feast that ended billions of years ago. In the absolute, suffocating dark of the cosmic dawn, the first stars did not ignite like ours. They were monstrous, bloated phantoms, fueled not by the clean, life-giving fusion of hydrogen, but by the slow, agonizing self-annihilation of dark matter. These were the legendary dark stars. To behold one would be to feel a cold, crushing pressure in your chest, a gravity so dense it would warp the very passage of your heartbeat. They did not shine with brilliant warmth, they glowed with a dull, bruised infrared, casting long, weeping shadows across a young universe. And they were hungry. From the moment of their birth, a silent parasite festered at their cores. Primordial black holes, microscopic seeds of pure devastation, sank into the hearts of these dark giants. What followed was a slow, invisible, and agonizing feast. For millions of years, these microscopic monsters ate their gargantuan hosts from the inside out, hollowed them of their mass, and drank the very fabric of the early universe. It was a cosmic heist on a scale so vast it defies human comprehension. The very building blocks of future galaxies, the pristine matter meant to spark billions of bright, living worlds, was quietly swallowed down a throat of infinite blackness. What we have inherited is the aftermath. We walk among the ruins of a universe that was robbed of its true potential before we even had a name. The light we see today is merely the desperate flicker of leftover scraps, the dust that slipped through the fingers of cosmic thieves. When you stare into the great void between the stars, you are not looking at empty space. You are looking at the scar tissue of a hollowed universe, a cold, dark inheritance that is still being dragged, inch by silent inch, into the bellies of the ancient dead. And the most terrifying part of this realization? The feast never truly ended. It is still happening, in the absolute dark, just beyond the reach of our trembling telescopes, waiting for the final, inevitable collapse.